The Samsung Galaxy S22 is now almost 2 years old. It got so many things right, including the high quality hardware, cameras, display, and the general software experience. But the one huge downside was the battery life, because Samsung decided to put a tiny 3700 mAh battery inside, coupled with a power-hungry Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor. So the battery life was just bad, and almost all of us ran into some noticeable heat management issues. But why I'm making this updated 2-year review now is because the Google Pixel 7 Pro also had all these similar problems. But if you watched my recent video, you know that the Android 14 update magically solved a lot of these problems. So with the official release of One UI 6, or Samsung's version of Android 14, I wanted to see if the Galaxy S22 had the same kind of luck. So let's get to it. Is the battery life any better now? For additional context, what I used to average before One UI 6 was only about 3 to 3.5 hours of screen on time per day. On weekends at the office, when I'm not using my phone too much, it can stay alive until maybe around 9 p.m. But on weekends, when I'm using my phone a ton, taking pictures, using maps, and using social media, I almost always had to charge up twice a day, which means that I need to bring around a portable power bank. Now, after One UI 6 or Android 14 learned my usage patterns, I am now unfortunately getting about the same battery life. Sometimes I can get lucky and get 4 hours of screen on time, but there's really no improvement at all. Even though it's most likely due to how old this unit is and how many charge cycles it's been through already, it's also been a little worse for standby battery life. Even on weekdays, I seem to be charging this phone twice a day because it would be at around 20% by the time I get home from work. Seems like no matter how good the software update might be, it can't save a 2-year-old phone that already had poor battery life. Now, this kind of battery life might be salvageable if it had very quick charging, but this only tops out at 25 watts, which takes about an hour and 40 minutes to get a full charge. On the bright side, the Galaxy S22 aged really well in terms of general day-to-day performance. After all these updates, the S22 has only gotten snappier over time, and it still holds up against the biggest flagships right now. Of course, it's not going to get the highest or the most consistent frame rates for gaming compared to the newer Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 or 3 chipsets, but switching apps, opening and closing apps, and the general touch response rate for typing and swiping felt just as good. Honestly, with how well-tuned One UI seems to be now, this old Galaxy phone seems slightly more responsive in home screen navigation than even this brand new Xiaomi 14 with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. The thermals have also seen some improvements as well. Even when recording in 4K often and multitasking, the phone only got moderately warm and never got uncomfortable to hold. And when it does get a little warm, it didn't bog down the experience, and there wasn't a huge drop in refresh rate that used to happen before. It's really mostly when multitasking and using the phone right after charging that I felt it warming up. But really, it wasn't as severe as it used to be. But yeah, really nice to see this type of improvement for an almost 2-year-old phone. On top of that, One UI 6 added a lot of improvements that made using this phone really convenient. I love how many options the new quick panel provides, really great for one-handed use, especially for these display options at the bottom here. The camera app is a lot more accessible and a lot quicker to change more of the primary settings. Routines has only gotten better with more if and then functions, and you really can't beat all the different multitasking options that One UI offers. There's no other OEM software that comes close to all the multitasking features available here. Coming from Pixel UI, Nothing OS, and Xiaomi Hyper OS, Samsung's One UI is still the most functional for my use cases. I'm loving it even on this older Galaxy S22. This general experience really made me appreciate the value of Samsung phones. Because right now, in terms of specs and price, they're getting pushed really hard by all these Chinese OEMs like Oppo, Xiaomi, and Vivo, but Samsung's software and general experience is really underrated. While the camera app is a lot more accessible than before, and I also think the shutter speed is a lot faster than it used to be, the camera quality is still good, but not as ranked high as it used to be for me. Now, this isn't really a knock, it's just that there's a lot more competition now in the last 2 years outside of Apple and Google that are producing really nice images from phones around this price. It's still very good, love the color reproduction, and a lot of images look ready for social media without much editing. I love the selfies on this thing. The optical zoom with the telephoto lens is still plenty sharp and reliable, plus if you do give it a second, it can take some really nice nighttime or low light photos as well. I also filmed my entire real world tests for the Xiaomi 14 using this camera, so I'm satisfied with the 4K video recording here too. But where I start to see the age on this thing is that a lot of the images aren't as detailed as they used to look to me when this phone was my only frame of reference at the time. I also see that some of the images and videos are over sharpened to the point where they don't look as satisfying to look at anymore. This is even more apparent when slightly zoomed in and the software is trying to overcompensate for the lack of details by over-sharpening the image. But all in all, this is still a very good camera and is still better than 95% of the new mid-range phones coming out these days, but it's not up there with the greats anymore, which is understandable. Besides all that, the hardware quality is still top-notch. I love the weight and the compact size of this phone. I think it's the perfect balance between display size and comfort. The hardware has also held up really well considering how much of a beating it's gone through with very little to no scratches. The buttons are still clicky with no issues at all. The AMOLED display and the stereo speakers are still excellent for any type of entertainment. Also, that ultrasonic in-display fingerprint reader is by far the best in the market. Even with all these high-value, high-spec competitors coming out, almost all other OEMs use optical in-display fingerprint readers, and they're still all inferior to Samsung's ultrasonic sensors. Really not much else to say about the hardware here other than that I still love how this feels and performs in everyday use. So putting everything together, the Galaxy S22 is a better phone than it used to be, and a large part of that is because of One UI 6. It sadly has the same major issues in the battery life department, and the camera quality may not have aged the most gracefully, but I do see some major improvements in the general performance and software experience that makes using this high quality compact phone a lot more enjoyable. I personally wouldn't buy this phone today because the Galaxy S24 is coming out really soon, and the existing Galaxy S23 is basically the better version of this phone. But it was fun to revisit this phone because it had a lot of good things going for it that I'm glad Samsung improved further on for the Galaxy S23 and hopefully for the S24 too. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know in the comments how your Galaxy S22 is holding up today and if you agree or disagree with my thoughts here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.